A very good morning, everyone. Welcome to StudyIQ English. Welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis with me. Like every day, let's quickly analyze the UPSC relevant articles, UPSC relevant information from today's newspaper. And yes, we are looking at the Hindu newspaper New Delhi edition. That's for 10th February today, 2026. And before we see which news articles are we to cover today, here's the QR code, okay? So for the Telegram channel and all the students who would want to join our growing Telegram community, where we are discussing question answers, current affairs, and soon we shall also announce a Zoom class series. You can just, download this QR and have a membership for the Telegram channel, which is a community for those who love sharing interesting UPSC facts and who really like investigating about newer topics, more complex topics. So, here are about 8 articles that I have selected from the newspaper today. The first 3 articles are all editorial articles. As you can see, they are page number 6. Remaining articles are a mixed bag. We are talking about the post of Lok Sabha Speaker. We shall look at one Supreme Court, in fact, 2 Supreme Court orders here. One regarding the MSME sector, another about the SIR exercise, and then eventually we go to West Asia, specifically to the Gaza area, talk a little bit about things like Oslo Accords, Abraham Accords, Camp David Accords. How are so many countries reacting to Israeli plan of annexing the entire Gaza Strip one after the other? So these are pretty much the news articles for the day. Yes, we start from the first major article, that is, the next big commodity is the mineable self. This is coming from editorial page. This is the main editorial article. Before we break this article down, let me quickly welcome all my dear students who have joined in already, and that is Sumed, that is Pratibha, that is Shakti, Sitaram, my dear Terukula, Satya, Roshan, Madhav, Abhay, Aspirant, Ramu, Saurav, Taithong, Aman, Kavish, Kaizen, Pranarithi, Eric, Shlok, and Sumit. So, good morning and welcome to the class, each one of you. Lots of love and blessings to all of you. As other students keep joining in, let us investigate a little bit into this article. What are we talking about? Good morning, Limbs and Santosh. See, we are trying to look at a very abstract article here. Very abstract article, okay? So, what does this article say? Yes, you're welcome, Asif. Welcome to the class, my dear. Welcome to the class. Okay, good morning. Let's understand this article quickly now. Article is saying in today's global market. Now, I don't know how many of you have actually studied Karl Marx in detail, but I'm sure those who have been able to complete GS paper 1 and 2 would be for sure aware about Karl Marx, Marxian philosophy, communist philosophy. Yesterday, you and I were talking about countries like Soviet Union, Russia, China. I told you all these are communist country. In fact, in 1960s in India also, after independence, there was a very prolific communist movement. Many of these parties were in fact later declared illegal also because they were supporting the ideology of Russia, the ideology of China. So, what exactly do you mean by communism? What do you mean by socialism? What is the Marxian philosophy? All these are crucial things. So, I would say socialism is that ideology which only believes in equality. In a simple way, to each according to their need, from each according to their capacity. You try to create distributive justice, and India is a socialistic society. Yes, because our preamble says India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So, in India, also, I have told you earlier, from 1994 onwards, 1944 onwards, we have always believed in the ideology of the Bombay Plan created by Indian National Congress. India commits itself to become socialistic democracy. We believe in distributive equality. But when you start believing that it is all right to use force to achieve your socialistic goals, you start becoming communist. It is a slightly more advanced, a slightly more aggressive form of socialism, which was indeed propagated by thinkers like Karl Marx. Yes, the Bolshevik Revolution, Russia, the French Revolution as well. And then Marx and Engels, what did they believe in? They believed in communism. That's when it is all right to use weapons. It's all right to do a revolution. It's okay to kill people. It's okay to do a bloody warfare in order to achieve the aim of equal society. And now it becomes extreme. Now it becomes communism. In India, many times you might have seen the Red Corridor states, Maoist states. Ultimately, the ideology behind Maoism and other such right-wing, left-wing movement is also creating equality. But the means that they use are very, very extreme. Yes. And that is why when in India we often talk about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the father, the architect of Indian Constitution, even his name is sometimes associated with Ambedkarism, Marxism. Why? Because he used to say that if the lower classes or the lower castes, if they have to achieve any equality with the upper caste, they must do three things: educate, agitate, and unite. The word agitate is a very heavy word. That means you can protest to achieve your rights, something very similar to what Karl Marx said in Communist Manifesto, that every society starts with equality. Slowly, slowly, means of production appear, machines appear. Then the society gets divided between two classes: one who owns the means of production, the bourgeoisie, and the other who works like a laborer on the means of production, the proletariat, the workers. Eventually, one day, after a long time of being deluded, after a long time of working like a machine, experiencing alienation, commodity fetishism, loss of species being, workers unite. They become a class for itself. They understand that we are exploited and we must do something to change our situation. And then comes the time for a revolution. And the revolution is going to be a bloody revolution. It's going to be a gruesome revolution where eventually the workers of the world unite and they kill, they execute, they totally remove the bourgeoisie, because even state is a tool in the hands of bourgeoisie, and then society once again becomes equal. And that's how it works. It becomes classless. Now that is communism. Absolutely, the Bolshevik Revolution, Russia, is a very valid example of that. And that is why this article is saying, just like during the times of Karl Marx, society treated humans like labor. The entire profit that was achieved by industry was the profit that they got by extracting surplus labor. You make the laborer work like a cog in the machine. Cog in the machine, like a part of the machine. And then you take all the surplus value of that labor, enjoy profits, and you keep exploiting the laborers by making them believe it is their destiny. Religion, according to Karl Marx, is nothing but an opium of masses. It's an opiate of the mass. It kind of sedates them. It makes them believe that their suffering is validated because it's the karmic law. God has asked them to suffer, so they must suffer. And that's why religion and state both are tools in the hands of bourgeoisie. This is capitalism. And this article is also saying, just like Karl Marx said, that labor is the cheapest commodity. Commodification of labor. Even in today's society, characterized by social media, globalization, too much dependence on internet and social media platforms, human is becoming like a commodity. Social relationships are becoming like commodity. This article is therefore comparing the modern society of today with the kind of society that used to exist in the times of industrial revolution, where people like Karl Marx came and highlighted the problems with this model. What does the article say? Article says human identity or the self. Now those of my students who will study psychology, or those who will study sociology, or those who will study anthropology, or even those who are going to study in detail GS paper 2 will know that there used to be a thinker by the name of Mead. Mead. Now, this man Mead had given certain concepts about how identity of a human being develops. Self, I, ego, superego, ID, all these are concepts we study here. Article is relating to that. Article says human identity or the self has become the new global commodity in today's digital media and today's media oriented economy. Which is the biggest commodity today? Human being. I am a commodity. Unlike physical resources that are finite. Now, we might argue physical resources are limited. You can say that there is a limited potential for coal, charcoal, petroleum, trees, river, water. Everything is limited, right? If you use it too much, it gets depleted. But then that's not true of human beings. Human beings are an infinite commodity. They are always available and they are always renewable. No matter how much labor you use, more labor is available, and that explains structural unemployment as well. Yes, no matter how much people you keep on using as labor force, more labor is there to work for you. It is especially true of developing countries which have a high population, say China, India, Vietnam, Philippines. Labor is infinite here. We have a youth bulge. No wonder companies like America outsource their work to India because they know the work will be done in a much cheaper manner. That explains why jobs are limited. There are too many people to fill up the post. That also explains why in one of our articles, we had discussed in India from the beginning. Why could we not compete China when it comes to becoming a manufacturing hub? Because China dependent on machinery and goods, capital investment, capital expenditure, capex. India did not. India kept on running its not just consumer industries, manufacture industries, but also MSME on the basis of infinite labor supply. And now what happens? Because labor is infinite and available, people are there to create stories, people create discourses, emotions, experiences, and identities. Now, the modern economy is not running so much on physical objects, it is running more on human beings, on people like yourself and myself. Now, this is known as self economy. And self economy is an economy which is influenced by media, social media, artificial intelligence, deep fake, politics, identity movement, finance. All these are ultimately about soft power and global storytelling. Now, what do you mean? This article is using a word here, mining the self. How do you do self mining? How will you mine yourself? Article is saying in industrial capitalism, profit comes from the surplus value of labor. Something exactly what your Karl Marx used to say. And even today, if you realize, then human social life is completely becoming monetized. It's about money and nothing else. Data is taken about friendship, family relations, your age, your gender, your like, your physical body size, your weight, your food preferences, your habits, your digital behavior. All that data is being mined by private companies. This could relate to the DPDP Act. Absolutely, Shinobi. Very well said. Personal and private data has become the new commodity now. It is the new raw material, and this is the surplus value that you and I are generating. We are busy living our lives on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on Instagram. Least do we understand that it is this data that shall be mined by some company, and then this data will create output. And what is that output? Profit for companies and the risk of data leakage for us. This is the new data economy where data is the gold. Yes, algorithmic mining of data, machine learning models being created on data like yours and data like myself. This is known as profiling on steroids. This article is using a very good word for that. Article says this is known as profiling on steroids. What's the result of that? Now, today, if you see, are we safe in the life, in the times of deep fakes? Are we safe? We are not safe at all. This raises a question regarding the DPDP Act. Is my data protected? No. Do I have a privacy? No. Do I have any intimacy with regards to my private life? No. What about trust? There is no trust. Absolutely, very well put, Kritik. The digital dystopia. What's dystopia? Opposite of utopia. Utopia is a beautiful situation to be in. Heavenly. Dystopia? Hell. Hell. It's the new nadir. It's the new nadir of data revolution. Nadir, What is nadir? Nadir is the lowest point you can achieve in anything in life. Lowest point. It is the opposite of the word zenith. Zenith is the top of something. Nadir or nadir is the lowest of something. Today we have reached the nadir of data revolution. There are three changes that are driving the mineable self. Today, people are being mined, and how are they being mined? Global demand for stories. There is a widespread search for local stories. Have you seen earlier what used to happen? Earlier, people would celebrate success stories. Only famous places in the world used to be covered in the news, but today that's not the situation. Today, whether it's the Bollywood movie, today it's whether a Hollywood story, a documentary, or a news item. Everyone is looking for rare stories, local stories, folklores, and mythologies. People are trying to look for migrant labors, their conflicts, and their identity narratives. Why? They get money out of that. Now, it is devastating to know. About 3, 4 years back, I was watching a documentary, and there is something known as poverty tourism that exists. Now, there are Americans and Europeans and Russians and Japanese and so many people. I wouldn't name any specific nationality here. Irrespective of nationality, people from the rich countries who have money are actually now going to places like Africa, Sudan, Mozambique, Namibia, not really for ecotourism, but actually to look at the life of people there, life of slum dwellers there. They look how dirty are the surroundings. They are then trying to understand how are they coping up with this kind of life and how ugly that is. Poverty tourism, watching somebody's poverty to get some kind of satisfaction, to make it a touristic thing is the worst thing you can do to commodify a human being. Something very true is also relevant for culture tourism. Now, there are places like, say, Malaysia, Myanmar, where you might have seen women are wearing elaborate rings on their neck. Yeah, there is body tattoo ritual. Then there are some tribes who are elongating their tongue. In China, you had the foot binding custom. All these customs are still alive in many, many local tribal communities, mostly in Africa and South Asia. Now, people from the more developed countries come into these areas. They are visiting these areas, asking questions, taking photography, sometimes even without permission, filming these people and making profitable videos out of that. Now, are humans commodities? But they have been commodified because data and private life are the ones that give you maximum profit. Even if you see on social media, majority of people who are top names today, those who have been able to mint money through social media, are doing on the basis of clickbaits. And how are the clickbaits coming? By sharing your private stories, your marriage ceremony, your first day of job interview, your house, your house repair, somebody sick in your family, any private kind of tragedy that you're trying to cover. You see, it is becoming a kind of yellow journalism situation where sensational newses are giving money. So people are commercializing on local stories, even conflicts. Now, for a group of reporters who are going nowadays to places like, say, Syria or Iraq, and now they are trying to cover Al Hol camp. Now, Al Hol is a very big camp, by the way. The camp is inhabited by ISIS families, the wives and the widows of ISIS fighters and their children. Now the women and other reporters are going there. They are filming them, showing how are you getting your water from, what's your sanitation facility, who gives you food. They'll go to other refugee camps, say the Rohingya refugee camp in Bangladesh, in near Cox's Bazar, the biggest one like that. It is so terrible the kind of life people are living, and the media people are going and asking them, how do you feel about it? How do you think there is any change in tomorrow? Do you think your future will change? How do you feel that you are caught up in things like human trafficking and prostitution? Now, these are not the questions you are going to ask a victim. That defies the ethic of media. But aren't people doing that today? Yes, they are doing. And why are they doing that? Because that's what the people want. That's what your audience wants. You are getting money out of that. You create TRP out of that. Absolutely. And that is why humans are commodity. Local news, conflict news, climate tragedy, victims of sexual harassment, victims of organ and sex trafficking are being interviewed in broad daylight because you want awards, you want money, and we are creating a global storytelling market where individuals, corporations, nations, cities, genders, everything are presenting themselves through a narrative, through a storytelling. And who is getting advantage? OTT platform. OTT platform and digital media platform like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, they are the ones who have transformed storytelling in the form of short documentaries, in the form of not just short documentaries, in the form of platforms who collect data on viewers and creators. Democratization of storytelling. Anybody can go ahead and put up a story. Many of these stories could be fake, many of them could be very disturbing, but they are being posted. Now, I was appalled to see that there are shorts on YouTube. I have seen those shorts in which they are covering live surgery. Since when did we start covering live critical organ transplant surgeries on social media? Is that ethical? Was the permission taken from the patient? I doubt. I honestly doubt. Cosmetic surgery procedures being filmed openly. Personal identity is no more personal. It's a part of digital economy. There is nothing today known as right to privacy. No matter how much we relate it to Article 21, no matter how much we relate it to the Puttaswamy verdict 2017, there is no right to privacy. AI and algorithmic identity. Now, AI is using things like deep fakes. We are able to mimic human emotions, even human voice. We are able to build data-based version of individuals. And what is happening today? Identity is therefore being shaped by credit score, clickbait, consumer profile, algorithm, data analytics, machine learning. Now, the article therefore is trying to say that self now, unlike what Mead used to say. Now, if Mead was alive today, the man who gave the concept of self, I, myself, George Mead, he would be shocked. Now, it is not about what you create as an identity, it's an identity that people create for you. Self is a source of story and money. It is no more about your personal life. And the chain of storytelling continues. Everyone has a story to tell, everybody has an audience. The more private your story, the more audience. The more emotional and the more sensational your story, the more audience. Yes? Example, YouTube creators, influencers, personal branding, crowdfunding stories, memoir. Now, there is a word, a lot of people will call this memoir. It is not called memoir, bache. It is about your personal story, what you have as your personal story. This is not called memoir, it is called memoir. Okay, memoir. So, memoirs and digital storytelling. We can also hire influencers and talk about our story. You can sell your scripted fake videos. That will also get you some kind of views, and eventually you can transform it into money. So, what is self today? If you try to analyze the concept of self today, self is not personal anymore. Self is an outsourced reality. Now, why is this important for UPSC? Initially, I thought I will skip this article. It's too abstract. But then later I realized, bacha, in 2021 and in 2022, in UPSC essay paper, there was an essay topic which clearly said self, the concept and the identity of self, has now become outsourced to social media. Or we can understand the concept of self only because it is now being outsourced to external sources. That was the topic of UPSC essay, and that time a lot of people were confused what to write here. This you have to write here. You are yourself no more. You live for validation, clicks, likes, photos, videos, comments. That is life today. So your identity is not shaped by your experience, your reaction, your perception. It is based by what people perceive you to be. In short, if I was to summarize, I would say nowadays we people have outsourced the creation of self to other people. It is an outsourced reality. We are not trying to create the reality, others are creating it for us through identity, stories, and social interactions. This is called a pure commercialization of human identity. Long back, Karl Marx used to say that in a time of capitalism, in the time of capitalism, nature will be commodified, lakes, wetlands, forest. Nature will be alienated, human will be alienated, animals will be alienated. But today, self has become alienated. It's a completely commercialized identity That's what this article has to say. Very good, Kritik. Absolutely. What a beautiful thing to say, Ashish. Biological traits or realities are converted into economic assets. Wonderful. And I so agree, Eric, that's a very valid statement you're making. But, Bacha, you have to take permission for that. Even if you film somebody's live surgery, it is okay. But has the family or has the individual given a consent for that? Do we have any proof of that? Not really. Now, in Brazil and Mexico, on an average, people are traveling in lakhs to get cosmetic procedures done. Why? Once again, it's about digital identity prevails over your private identity. Most of these surgeries are freely available on YouTube to watch. And how many people were taken permission from? Not really. So consent is a biggest gap here. If you have taken consent and if you are putting viewer discretion age, then it's fine. But unfortunate thing is a 7-year-old child can also watch that surgery being streamed and the patient probably has not given the consent, and this is called privacy breach. So both things have to be taken care of. The viewer has to be of a certain age and mental readiness, and the victim also has to give the consent. If we are doing both these, yes, it is informative. If not, then it is definitely against the DPTP Act. Okay? Okay? Is that clear? Absolutely. There is no real mercy or empathy. That's so true. And therefore, I would say this topic also goes to GS paper for social media and digital media ethics. Recently, we made an amendment to that act, Digital Media Intermediaries Act. So you must know about that. GS paper for media ethics, right to privacy. It very well relates with that. Yes, delegated experience. Absolutely. Okay, Sitaram? Very good. Terukula is answering. With reference to emerging market for self, in the digital economy, consider these statements. 1. The commodification of self mainly refers to the monetization of human social interaction, identity, and personal narrative through digital platform. Second, OTT streaming platforms have contributed to the rise of ordinary individuals and local stories in global storytelling markets. And 3, increasing use of AI and algorithmic profiling has reduced the role of data in shaping individual identity. Which of these statements are valid, my dear? Answers are coming from Priyanshu. Are you here for the class after a long time? Welcome, Bache. Urupam, Rajneshwar, Ashish, Shakti, Anup, Reshma, Madhav, Kritik, Shlok, Sitaram, Shinobi, Sadhana, Elvin. Everyone is saying it's a B. That precisely means we probably do not have to invoke the Lokpal power today because everyone is sure that it's the right answer. Let's see. Is 3 correct? No, 3 is not correct because data is everything. Data is the new gold today. Data is the new gold. We all need data. So third is invalid. First is correct. Absolutely first is correct. Second is correct. Correct. So therefore B will be the right answer and really well answered there. Totally, Reshma. It's confusing, but then it's wrong. Very, very well answered. Well answered, everyone. I understand, and that's why I'm launching the Zoom series, Bache. Zoom series will not be a math batch class. I will open one Zoom session for selected 12 students at a time. On first come, first serve basis. I will launch it very soon now. I'll have each of these discussions, one on map work, one on global choke points, one on South China Sea, then one on essay writing, one on comprehension. All of that I'll take care of. Give me just 1 or 2 days. I'm still trying to create the the performer of that. Once it's done, I'll let you know in Telegram. Even you can take one-on-one classes also with me on Zoom, not a problem. So don't worry. I'll train you thoroughly for that. Don't worry. Okay. So now majority wins. One wonderful comment made by Ramu. Even if the patient has given the consent, public at large will still get affected. Absolutely. Absolutely. So on social media, it may not be a good thing to host. If you have to host it, please go ahead and do it on another website or an exclusive channel which has age consent barriers. You cannot just let people come and watch all that content. It's very disturbing. It's very disturbing. I've seen my own niece, my own niece, 7-year-old, watching such things. And finally, the parents had to take action, block and put a passcode. But it is parental fault also. You can't allow your children to access smartphones like that. It is very unethical. God knows what all can they be predisposed to. So that's a dangerous thing. Statement 3, Satya, is that a problem for you? Statement 3 is saying the more you use AI and the more you use algorithm, you are reducing the role of data in shaping your identity. That's not true. Data is everything. Now, for example, yesterday I'm sharing something very personal with all of you. Yesterday I was going to Mintra, okay, and I wanted to order, say, a kind of a jacket or something. Now, I was amazed. I am selecting M and the algorithm is telling me no, L will fit you. I'm thinking algorithm is body shaming me. I know my size or algorithm knows. No, based on your previous purchases L or XL. Don't order M. You see, this is the beauty of data. You know, on the past behavior, they will suggest you, they will only throw you recommendations which you need. Whether it's a earphone or whether it's a smart watch, but it has to be on your algorithm. Otherwise, how can it be so perfect? My size, my preference, my color, so everything they are aware of. Did you understand? That is why data is everything right now. It is data that leads to machine learning. And machine learning ultimately propagates the entire financial engine of all these e-commerce websites. If you stop giving your data, nobody will be able to do that. But we can't also escape that. OTP, share your phone number, go to McDonald's, just order a burger. Still they will send you, take your mobile number. You can't escape that. They need your data. They will take your data. Yes? Yes, absolutely. I must delete Mintra. What a body shaming. I swear, honestly. Okay, second article, bacha. This is also editorial. Now, what does this article say? This article is very interesting. It is coming from GS paper 2 as well as GS paper 3. We are looking at diamond. We are looking at diamond mining. 2 days before we have spoken about Meghalaya. Meghalaya, the forested state in northeast India, where we were discussing about the rat hole mining and how rat hole mine collapsed, and it led to the death of so many informal sector workers. Yes, now the government is still investigating the issue. It was banned. It was long back banned by NGT. But it continues. So now we are not looking at rat hole mining, we are looking at diamond mining. Yes, Blood Diamond was a beautiful cinema. What an artwork. Absolutely, it was good. Very good. Mikir Hila Sam. And in Meghalaya, we have spoken about Garo Khasi Jayantiya. Yes, 2010 NGT had banned it. Now let's talk about diamond mining. What is this article trying to say? Bache, listen carefully and then we will discuss other important things. Article is saying that India, our country, is going to be the chairperson. We are going to be the chairman of Kimberley process KP for 2026. You all know that India now is also going to host the BRICS summit. Yes, India will now chair the BRICS summit in 2026. India is also going to chair Kimberley process. What is Kimberley process? Kimberley process is related to diamond trade and diamond mining. What do you mean by that? Kimberley process is an international process created to stop the trade of illegal diamonds, illegal conflict diamonds, rough diamonds used by rebel groups or by insurgent groups to fund violence against government. So diamond mining is a very, very gray area. Diamond mining is an area where majority of militant groups, especially in countries like Africa, you've seen so many of them, Al-Shabaab, STC, so many. So many rebel groups are existing in South Africa trying to protest against the government, creating political coup and civil war. Where does the money come from? Either the money is coming from foreign countries who are acting like a proxy in the war. For example, in the case of Yemen, UAE was financing STC, Saudi was financing the government of Yemen, and Iran was financing the Houthi government. Yesterday, we have seen Ethiopia and Eritrea violence. One source of income for rebels is money coming from foreign powers. Another is diamond mining, illegal diamond mining. They illegally mine these diamonds, sell it, and finance narcotic and weapons terrorism. But these are illegal conflict diamonds is what we call them. So therefore, the world has created a process in 2000. When was this created? In 2000. What is it known as? It is known as Kimberley process. The process through which we are able to completely stop the trade of illegal conflict diamond. In 2000, it was started by the African countries, and Kimberley process also has a certification scheme known as KPCS, the Kimberley Process Certification Scheme that was launched in 2003. Today, about 60 countries are participating, and they represent 60 participants are representing about 86 countries. About 99.8% of global diamond trade is covered now by Kimberley process. Yes, it covers about 99.8% of global rough diamond production. Yes, did you understand what is Kimberley? Did everybody understand Kimberley? Very good. Perfect, Ashish. Is it clear to everyone? Okay. Now, how does Kimberley process work? Please listen. How does it work? The KPCS, Kimberley Certification System, ensures that, listen, rough diamonds that are newly extracted, rough diamonds are traded only between KP certified countries. I repeat, this process ensures rough diamonds extracted from the grounds are only traded between Kimberley certified countries. Each shipment, each consignment must carry a KP certificate. Countries must share their production and their trading data with each other. That is a mandate. And then which are the top diamond producing countries in the world? Most of them are African. Angola, Botswana, Congo, Canada, Namibia, Russia. All these countries are together producing 85% of global rough diamonds. I repeat, global rough diamonds. What is India's role in the whole process? India is not a major diamond producer, but India is a very big diamond importer. Not a producer, big diamond importer. No, only with rough diamonds. Satya, with rough diamonds. Kimberley refers to the trade and certification of raw diamonds, diamonds extracted from the ground. Now, if these are the diamond producing countries, what is India doing? India is not a producer. India is not an exporter. India is an importer. Diamond mining in India is mainly found in the state of Madhya Pradesh. I repeat, Madhya Pradesh. And which is the most famous mine in Madhya Pradesh? Panna mine. Panna mine in Madhya Pradesh is a very famous area where we have most of the diamond extraction going on. Very, very good. Very, very good. So in India, diamond mining is mostly in Madhya Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh alone has 90% of India's diamond reserves, primarily located in the Panna mine. Now there is another area. This is known as an area in Andhra Pradesh. Yesterday I discussed with you Andhra Pradesh when I was talking about how from 2014 Amravati has become the new capital. Okay, because Hyderabad went to Telangana. So this same Andhra Pradesh has a big delta. This is known as River Krishna River Basin. In this Krishna River Basin also, India has so many diamond fields, and this area is historically famous for producing the Kohinoor diamond. So the Kohinoor diamond is primarily found in the Krishna River Valley. Yes, but mostly these are inactive now. These mines are not so operational, but Madhya Pradesh has 90% potential. Unfortunately, because of the low potential, India is importing 40% of rough diamonds. I repeat, India is importing 40% of rough diamonds. But now that India is importing rough diamonds, India leads the world in cutting and polishing. Cutting and polishing. World's largest cutting and polishing hub is located in Surat and Mumbai. Yes, Gujarat, Maharashtra area. Now, exported diamonds. Once you are able to cut these diamonds, polish these diamonds, make them usable, where does India export them to? India exports them to US, UAE, Israel, Hong Kong, and China. The downstream process, the midstream process. Very good, Ramu. Absolutely. India may not have the upstream, but India has the down and the midstream. Yes. This gives India a strong influence in the KP system, Kimberley process system. But there are some big challenges that are overlooking the Kimberley system. Big problems. What are these problems? One, there is a very narrow definition of conflict diamond. The KP process, Kimberley process, only says those diamonds that are used by rebel groups are rough diamonds. It doesn't ignore the ugly side of legal mining industry. Even those diamonds that are produced under the Kimberley process are associated with human trafficking, child labor, labor of pregnant women, labor of disabled people, labor of young minors, smuggling networks, exploitation that happens in artisanal mining, blue collar job, social dumping, alienation, excessive exploitation, no occupational safety, no proper remuneration, out and out case of labor, trafficking and abuse, environmental damage. All these are associated with diamond mining, even if it happens within the Kimberley process, because upstream extraction of diamond will create environmental impact. It will also lead to human trafficking and human abuse. Second problem is decision making. Now, as one of the students was saying, which student said that? Somebody said at the very beginning, was it Satya or was it Madhav? I don't remember. Somebody just said it when I was talking about Kimberley process. Who said that? I am not able to find that comment. I don't know who said that. Somebody said that. Somebody clearly said that. Another problem is the KP. Kimberley process requires majority decision. It requires consensus. So political vetoes can now block any strong action that is taken to improve this industry. This makes identifying conflict diamonds very, very tough. A good example in the article is coming from Central African Republic. Central African Republic had created an export ban, a complete ban on export of diamond from 2013 to 2024. Instead, smuggling and violence. So rather than improving on smuggling and violence, putting a ban on export is not going to help again. What happens now? We can only control the supply, but we have no control over environment and we have no control over labor abuse. Now, for India, who is going to become the chairperson of Kimberley process in 2026, there are certain opportunities. And what are the opportunities? One, India can create a technical working group on violence and human right risk. Second, India can promote digital KP certification. Three, India can use blockchain based certification system, encourage independent audits. India can also improve custom data sharing, have a stronger environmental policy, strengthen civil society participation. At the same time, encourage public release of detailed Kimberley process statistics. Yes, okay. So, all these then are examples in which India can improve and establish a regional KP technical hub in Africa. If India as a chairperson wants that Africa should do something to improve human right abuse, environmental protocols should be in place, then India can create regional technical Kimberley process hubs in Africa, where we provide training to people, where we provide IT support, where we are doing certification uniformity, better forensic capacity to stop the problem of conflict diamond. Focusing on Africa and development will help, because if this industry is formalized, many more people in Africa will find better jobs. Many more people in Africa will be able to save themselves from human trafficking and slavery. Poverty reduction will happen and responsible consumption will also happen. So, for India, the goal should be diamond revenues should support health, job creation, and ecology. It should not support human trafficking and environmental abuse. Mining regions should benefit from diamond trade. And we can conclude this article by saying that during India's chairmanship, India must do something to reform entire global diamond governance, improve transparency, support producer communities, as well as strengthen multilateral cooperation. Absolutely, Shakti. It is related to Sustainable Development Goal. It is related to Sustainable Development Goal 1 and 2. Zero poverty and zero hunger across the world by 2030. Even if you can't achieve zero, you can at least achieve much more than what we have already achieved right now. So India can change the KP process by preventing conflict of bad diamonds and promoting inclusive diamond trade. That's all this article is trying to say. Do remember top diamond producing countries. Remember Madhya Pradesh, 90% of diamond. Remember India is import dependent. No upstream capacity, but a lot of downstream capacity. Understand what is KPS system and understand that it was created back in 2000. Strongly implemented since 2003. Yes? Okay. Quickly, the question. With reference to the Kimberley Process Certification Scheme, consider these statements. 1. The KPS certification scheme regulates only the trade of polished diamonds between countries. 2. Reshma answers already. India is one of the largest producers of rough diamond in the world and accounts for significant share of global production. 3. Under the Kimberley Process Framework, trade in rough diamond is allowed only between participant countries that certify shipment as conflict-free. Which of these statements are valid? Initiated from Reshma and Shlok. Answers are coming from Manya, aspirant, Reshma, she has answered, Terukula, Shakti, Sumit, Rajnishwar, Anup, Elwin, Sitaram. What about my dear Ramu and Terukula? Kojumba is not here for the last few days. I hope she's fine. What about Eric? Vikash is not here either. Okay, Ramu and Hika are answering. Shlok says no split verdict. So does Eric. That means you deserve a round of applause. Absolutely you do. A big round of applause, that too. Indeed, C is the right answer. First statement is incorrect. We just spoke about it. KP is concerned with rough diamond, not polished diamond. Diamonds that you extract from the ground. Terukula, thank you. I'm so sorry I missed it. Second, India is one of the largest producer of diamonds. Sorry, it's not. India is not a producer of diamond. India is a big importer of diamonds, importing about 40% of the total diamonds that we use. And then India is expert in cutting and polishing. That happens in Surat and Mumbai. Subsequently, these polished ones are then sent to other nations like we saw, like Japan and Korea and US and UAE, all these countries. Third is correct, totally correct. Because under this framework of Kimberley process, rough diamonds can only be traded between countries that are a part of Kimberley certification. Those who do not carry certification are categorized as bad or conflict illegal diamonds. So third is correct. C is the right answer. Very good, Madhav, Ashish. Very good, Roshan. Very good, Amal Dev. Very good, Hika. Excellent. Well done. Third editorial article, quickly. Now, yesterday we created a huge suspense and lots of controversy. The good thing is that now nobody in my class will ever forget two things. That there are three countries in the world. One is our own country. One is another country in Southeast Asia, the capital of which is Kuala Lumpur, which recently in 25 hosted the ASEAN Summit, where Indian Prime Minister is currently touring, known as Malaysia. And the third is known as Myanmar, a country that we keep talking about in the news, where Tatmadaw or the Janta has taken power through a military coup. Yes. So lots of confusion yesterday, and it is good because I clarified in Telegram and now nobody will ever forget. That's the achievement out of this confusion. So when you talk about India and Myanmar, the country ruled by Janta, Kuki Chin, Rakhine area, these together are members of too many common groupings like the BIMSTEC. Like another one, the Mekong Ganga Cooperation. What is Mekong Ganga? India sharing partnership with 5 countries of South Asia where the Ganga river flows. Mekong Ganga. Now let's exclude Malaysia from here. Interestingly, India and Malaysia are barely sharing any common membership. They are not. Yesterday, many students said UN and all of us were having a hearty laughter, because we were enjoying the kind of discussion we had. Yes? No problem. Very good. Satya, 1027 war. Correct. That is Myanmar. Three Brother Alliance. Very good. Now talking about Bacha Malaysia. Yesterday, a big confusion was happening. Many students were not sure. Now we are sure. Malaysia is a member of ASEAN. Yes, indeed, Malaysia is a member of ASEAN. Is India a member of ASEAN? India is not a member of ASEAN. Not a member of ASEAN. However, both these countries do share certain platforms like trading platforms. They do participate in ASEAN related trade agreements, but they are not. But they are not participating. They are not members of ASEAN together. India is not. Malaysia is. Okay. So is that clear to everyone? Is that clear to everyone? Now nobody should forget. Very good, Terukula. ASEAN added an 11th member in 2026. What was that? Timor-Leste, East Timor. Very good. Very good. Absolutely. Regional trade. Yes. So India participates in all these things. Then ASEAN also has the RCEP, where trading partners includes countries like Australia and New Zealand. India also was trading with RCEP, but is India a member of ASEAN? No. Malaysia is? Yes. Clear? Now this article is once again talking about back on track. What are we looking at, bache? Please focus. GS paper 2. International relations. GS paper 2. Yes, very good, bacha. GS paper 2. India-Malaysia relations are back to track. Indian Prime Minister Shri Modi has been visiting Malaysia. Now, very interestingly, if you remember, when we had the ASEAN summit in Kuala Lumpur, that time Indian Prime Minister was not able to go to Malaysia. Yes? Because the membership of ASEAN is strictly given to South Asian countries. Southeast Asian countries. India is in South Asia, but not geographically in Southeast Asia. And ASEAN is open to Southeast Asia. No, it's primarily because of geographical membership. There's no as such diplomatic reason. No. Yes, Kritik, very good. Indian Prime Minister had attended the ASEAN summit virtually, online. He did not go. And newspaper was full of criticism. Why? Did the top leader from India not go to ASEAN? From their own side, the Indian government said because the festival of Diwali was around. Trade deficit was coming. At the same time, tariff impact was very high. Inflation was on the rise. There were too many domestic issues to solve, and that's why Indian Prime Minister did not go actually to the ASEAN summit. Yes. But now, today, as he is visiting Kuala Lumpur, we are strengthening India-Malaysia relations. There was a mild diplomatic tension in 2025. That was also one reason why Indian Prime Minister could not go to Malaysia that time. Now he's going. And the visit is important because the visit is an actual implement. Yes, Kritik. The biggest reason more than Diwali trade deficit was actually Bihar assembly elections were about to come. Yes. More than that, the Bihar assembly elections were coming. Elections were going on, I think. And that was the time when national priorities were more important. So he could not go. Very good. But now things are different. Now he has gone to Malaysia, and it first time shows that yes, in 2026 also, India will not only believe but implement the doctrine it follows from 2014 Act East policy. Act East policy. Now India has gone to Malaysia. Yes. Why do these relations need a repair? Why do they need a repair? Some issues had created a tension. For example, listen carefully, everyone. Malaysia was creating an attempt to make a dialogue between India and Pakistan after Pahalgam terror attack. India did not like it. India did not like it. Just like America and Turkey, Malaysia also said, let us create a negotiation between India and Pakistan. It's a border problem. India was very angry. India said it's not a border problem. It's an act of terrorism. It's an act of breaking down United Nations Charter Article 2.4, one country attacking the sovereignty of another country. Not done. Not good. Don't interfere. Second, Malaysia was hosting Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif in 2025. India did not like. Because in 2025, Pahalgam attack had happened, and immediately after that, Malaysia welcomed Mr. Shehbaz Sharif. Third thing, there was a difference going on in the ASEAN trade negotiation, which is known as, yesterday also I have spoken about it, AITIGA. I told you yesterday, if anybody asks you this question on AITIGA, it is nothing but ASEAN trade negotiation platform. some conflict was going on here also, because India had stepped out of RCEP in 2019, you know that. Now, there are other controversial issues that I don't want to talk about in the news because they are not UPSC relevant. There are some communal issues as well. Okay, let them be. Another thing, India's earlier decision to skip the ASEAN summit was also something Malaysia did not take in a good light. All these differences were there, but now both the countries have decided in 2026, rather than continuing our grudges, let us implement a stronger relationship after all. Because if you remember, Bache, in 2026, we are also celebrating India and ASEAN Year of Maritime Cooperation. If you remember, India ASEAN Year of Maritime Cooperation, and Malaysia being a key member of ASEAN, India wants to have a good relationship here. Also, as some of the students are saying, Terukula is saying, Santosh is saying, it is also important for us to have a good relationship with Indonesia and other countries of ASEAN to counterbalance the impact of China in this area of South China Sea. Very important. So India will maintain a good relationship. So what are the key outcomes of the visit? One, India and Malaysia have now decided to sign a security cooperation, counter-terrorism cooperation. India and Malaysia are supporting each other not just at United Nations but also at FATF. I don't know how many of you know about FATF. What is FATF? Financial Action Task Force. Both India and Malaysia are participating in these two. What is FATF, bacha? FATF means Financial Action Task Force. When was it created? It was established in 1989. Established in 1989, what does it mean? Very good. FATF is an international organization that is setting global standards to combat money laundering, terror financing, financing of weapons of mass destruction. If you get a question in GS paper 2 or 3, three things you will write. FATF, created in 1989, is an international organization that is acting to fight money laundering. In India, we have done the PMLA Act and Enforcement Directorate, Prevention of Money Laundering. Money that comes from smuggling, narcotic, terrorism, or any such illegal activity on the basis of a registered, acknowledged crime. Yes. So FATF fights money laundering, FATF fights terror financing and weapons of mass destruction. It was established in 1989 at the G7 summit in Paris. When was it established? G7 summit in Paris. About G7, I have told you multiple times. Earlier it used to be G8. But in 2014, as Russia tried to invade Ukraine and captured a place called Crimea, America removed Russia from G8. Now G8 has once again become G7 after Russia's exit in 2014 over Crimea annexation. Yes, now we all know and we should remember, the FATF also releases its black and grey list to show which countries are busy in terror financing and money laundering. Pakistan for a very long time was in that list, but today look at the paradox. Not only have they removed Pakistan, International Monetary Fund is giving Pakistan money back to back to back. You will say why? Because all these bodies are dominated by America. Coming back to India, Malaysia. India, Malaysia, very good. India, Malaysia are also trying now to jointly condemn terrorism, including cross-border terrorism. They have signed a memorandum of understanding on semiconductor, trade and defense cooperation, energy and digital technology cooperation. Ultimately, therefore, it's about economic plus strategic partnership expansion. What about the regional and the global context? The visit by Prime Minister Shri Modi is important because it confirms India's belief in ASEAN. It confirms India's belief in Act East Policy 2014. It also shows India is trying to balance its negotiation by creating more and more free trade agreements with many countries across the world. If India has done FTAs with the West, US, bilateral trade agreement, EU, mother of all the FTA, UK, roadmap for 2035, TEPA, TEPA, Trade Economic Partnership, Switzerland, Iceland, Norway, Liechtenstein, Gulf Cooperation Council, another FTA, Oman, CEPA, Jordan CEPA, New Zealand, preferential trade agreement. Eric used to say it is preferential trade agreement, not FTA. It is one. Now, by balancing one in South Asia also. Another FTA upcoming with Malaysia. India is also going to host the BRICS summit in 2026. Not just the Kimberley convention, also India is the chairperson of the BRICS summit. India therefore shares a very strong position with ASEAN, which includes Myanmar. And after all, protecting the Indo-Pacific area from China is a key agenda for India. Key agenda for India. Why not? Otherwise, China will keep on monopolizing. If India is giving too much importance to forums like Shanghai Cooperation Organization, if India is giving too much importance to forums like BRICS, then India must counterbalance by giving importance to forums like Quad and forums like ASEAN, which are able to act together in controlling Chinese domination in South China and Indo-Pacific. Mahasagar, Sagar. Yes, Act East policy, all that is going on. And India, Malaysia are also sharing a diaspora, by the way. Malaysia has too many Indians employed in the highly skilled sector also, informal sector also. It is about trust and security, technology and trade. That's all. Quickly, will you answer the question? Quickly, will you answer the question? I will top if all of you clear the prelims, if all of you clear the mains. For those taking sociology, I want 300 marks out of 500. I want all questions in reading comprehension. I want such essays that you break records. That day I will actually top. Not just exam, my entire life becomes successful. So that you have to do. Okay? Okay? That's a commitment. Quickly now, Malaysia map. Malaysia map. Where is Malaysia? We've seen it yesterday. Look here. Malaysia, the two areas that are covered in brown. One here just below Thailand. Another one right here. You can see Brunei in the neighborhood. So Malaysia is one country that are actually broken into two parts. Okay, one you can see here, another you can see here. Almost like an archipelago, a group of islands coming together. You see what a critical location in the South China Sea. You can see Philippines here, you can see Indonesia. Now this is also the area between Malay and Indonesia Peninsula where you have the Strait of Malacca. India says, I also want to patrol the Strait of Malacca, because Strait of Malacca is very crucial, strategic choke point that takes all the trade to China. So China has its eyes here. You can see Singapore, the tiny little dot here. Okay, so broadly this is Malaysia's location. Okay, yes, the coral triangle is here. Very good, very good. No problem, no problem, not an issue. Whatever optional you take, just do really well in that, and take an optional which you enjoy studying. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, quickly, we have done this article, so I would request you to focus on the question with reference to India's engagement with ASEAN and Malaysia. Consider these statements. One, Malaysia is a founding member of ASEAN and it participates in ASEAN India Trade in Goods and Agreement ITIGA. Second, ASEAN India Trade in Goods and Agreement is a part of the broader ASEAN India Free Trade Agreement framework. And three, India is a member of ASEAN, but it also participates in ASEAN led mechanisms like East Asia Summit. Which of these are correct? Overlapping and confusing, but which of these are correct? Is it? So sure about B? Okay. Let us do the quick smart elimination as Shakti, Sumit, Reshma, AB, Hika, and my dear Terukula, Sitaram, everyone is answering. Eric is answering. Abhay and Rajnishwar are answering. I'm so happy. Shinobi, Bulbul, Akhtar, very good participation, Bacha. I'm so happy. Elvin, yes. Can we eliminate the third statement? Absolutely, we must eliminate. Now, in the exam also, you will be writing the prelims very soon, either now or next year. But you learn to eliminate. If one statement is clearly wrong, don't waste your time in reading all the statements. It's a bad strategy. First thing, eliminate. Third is wrong. How many times we are repeating India is not a member of ASEAN? Malaysia is. But yes, India does participate in the East Asia Summit and AITIGA, but not a member, right? If third is wrong, then B and C are definitely wrong. Now, if you look at one, Malaysia as a founding member, absolutely it is. And does it participate in this agreement? It does. What about India? Is India a part of this agreement is a part of the broader ASEAN India free trade agreement? Yes, totally. That is why it is created in the first place. It is a part of the free trade agreement, and the good thing is it is something that enables India to conduct smoother trade with entire group of ASEAN countries. Correct? So then what to do? Should I give a huge round of applause? Totally. Absolutely, you need that round of applause. So whether it's Apex or Satya, or whether it is Kritik or Kaushik, it's totally correct, Aman. Eric, you need more tricks? Is it? More tricks are needed by Eric? Is that the case? Okay. Quickly, let's do a very short article. It's not a short article. We can make it very short for our understanding. In 2-3 minutes, let's just swipe over the article. This article is looking at a case study. If you ask me what is the main point made by the article, I would say the main point is the classical ethical debate between expanding infrastructure like railways, last mile connectivity, metro, regional rapid transit system, or the Silver Line semi high speed rail project. All these are on the one hand, and on the other hand, you have issues like displacement of human settlements. On the other hand, you have issues like climate distortion, environmental, issues that come side by side. So it is as much GS paper 3 as it is GS paper 4. Ethics, infrastructure versus environment. Totally slow. That's the topic. Case study is Kerala. Let me summarize quickly what is happening. The map here is a map of Kerala. Why did I create this map? Because this map is showing how are we trying to look at the entire area that starts from Tiruvananthapuram at the southern tip of Kerala to absolutely north that goes to Kasargod, Arabian Sea. It goes to Kasargod. So from South Kerala to North Kerala, in the boundary you can see Karnataka. In the boundary you can see state of Tamil Nadu. Yes? Okay. Just look at two things. Kasargod, Tiruvananthapuram. Now let me make you understand. Kerala is planning to create a rapid transit system. It is called Regional Rapid Transit System, RRTS. Where will it travel from? It will travel from Tiruvananthapuram in the south to Kasargod in the north, a distance of about 583 kilometers. Western Ghats, very good. Malabar coast, very, very good. Very, very good. Excellent. Now, this has become a replacement to the earlier proposed Silver Line semi-high speed rail project. Why? Because the previous project, Silver Line semi-high speed project, had faced opposition and it did not get much support from the central government. There was a big issue about land acquisition. Kerala has a very high population density, but the land available is limited. At the same time, Kerala has some lovely wetlands, biosphere reserve, and tropical forest. Cutting these down would mean a massive risk with ecology. People and tribals don't want that. And this was a major reason why too much protest happened against the earlier project called Silver Line Semi-High Speed Project. The issue reflects a policy shift in Kerala transport system where finally the government has proved that it does listen to people and their aspirations. Now, therefore, we are planning a new project in Kerala which should be more acceptable to people. This new project is known as RRTS, Regional Rapid Transit System. What is this? This is a high-speed regional railway system that operates at about 160 to 180 km per hour speed. Yes. Already, it is implemented in another place in North India known as the Delhi-Meerut corridor. Why is it designed? Now listen very carefully. Listen carefully. Why is it designed? What is the purpose behind RRTS? One, more intermediate stops. It will keep stopping in between as it travels, so many more people can hop off and hop on. Second, metro integration. Third, last mile urban connectivity. Absolutely a broader part of PM Gati Shakti scheme. Very, very well said, Apex. Improve urban infrastructure in India. Correct. So it will provide last mile connectivity. Next, what's the aim? Listen carefully. The aim is it will reduce traffic congestion on road. It improves public transport. It will link airport to metro network. It will improve last mile connection. But why? Why are we choosing RRTS over the previous silver line network? Why are we doing that? What is the benefit of RRTS over the previous silver line semi-high speed network? Listen carefully. If you compare the both, RRTS will be built on pillars. Now, when something is built on a pillar, it is known as viaduct based. I'm writing it here. Viaduct based project. What is a viaduct based project? Have you seen metro stations? Sorry, metro trains. How do they run? Do they run on the ground? No. They run on a kind of up the heads up bridge, right? So even for creating this RRTS, we will create bridges on the road. And just like metro, RRTS will run on these elevated platforms known as viaduct based project. Now, what is the benefit? It requires less land acquisition. Naturally, less trees will be cut, less land will be reclaimed, less environmental disruption, and less public opposition. Simple, cost effective. Silver line used to be based on embankment construction. If we had created the silver line, the previous project that was retaliated against, on the road itself, we had to cut away land area, make more embankment, make more space, and people would have had to displace. Slums, forest, villages would have been displaced. And therefore, silver line was facing severe opposition because of embankment construction, land acquisition. It could impact the sensitive ecology in Kerala. Therefore, now we are creating viaduct, the upper transmission based RRTS system. But even now, people are protesting. Why? Why are people protesting now? Because even RRTS that uses elevated tracks will cause some loss of home and farmland. It will create displacement, and ultimately, even to make pillars, you need some land. Property value will also go down for those people who live near these areas. And when is the target of completion? Government says RRTS will be done by 2036. What is the funding pattern? The estimated cost, as was told by one of my students right now, Ashish was telling, it's correct. Estimated cost is about 1.9 lakh crore. Expensive project. But what is the funding model? This is interesting. If you look at the funding model, then in the funding model, only 20% is being given by the state government. 20% is given by the central government. So no fiscal controversy as such between center and the states. 60% is being financed through international loans. International bodies are going to give this loan. So in short, thank you so much, Eric. Eric says, congratulations. Now you are a pro at drawing. Very soon I will become like MF Hussain if I keep teaching you with drawings. Thank you for the compliment. Now, what are the difference between different rail models? One, very high speed rail. It is very fast, very few stops in between, very good slow. So this is the perfect example of PPP model. Public-private partnership. Another PPP is Article 25 of the Constitution. Don't get confused. Public-private partnership. High speed rail, very few stops in between. Silver line, semi-high speed, about 200 kilometers. RRTS, the rapid transit one, the one we are talking about, slightly slow, about 160 to 180 kilometers per hour, too many stops in between, perfect for urban transport mobility, urban transportation. And Kerala, by moving here, is therefore trying to create a kind of balance. Balance between what? Balance between ecology, balance between infrastructure, balance between displacement, land acquisition, and ultimately public acceptance. Yes, public acceptance. So the last question of the day. With reference to the proposed regional rapid transit system, in Kerala, consider the following questions. Consider the following statements. One, the RRTS is designed for higher sustained cruising speed, traveling speed, with very few intermediate stops, compared to previous conventional high-speed rail. 2. The proposed RRTS corridor in Kerala is planned to be operated at speed lower than the proposed speed at Silver Line semi-high speed rail project. And 3. Unlike Silver Line, RRTS mainly depends on elevated viaduct construction to reduce land acquisition and environmental impact. And 4. Funding pattern is between larger share of funding from international institutions and lesser, of course, from the state and central government. So private will give more and central and the state governments will give less. Okay, so that's the question. That is the question here. Let us see who answers. I'm just trying to refresh my links to read the comments because the link has not been updated. Okay, it's updated now. So let's see who is answering the question quickly. Okay, so many answers. We need the Lokpal. Yes, Ramu was mentioning about why is it exclusively Silver Line. It is exclusively Silver Line because it is kind of denoting a very high level of sophistication and modernized product. So that's why mostly Silver Line, to denote urbanization, to denote higher industrial capacity. Probably that's the reason. Is that clear? Yes. So what's the answer then? Reshma starts answering, followed by Roshan. He's very positive about it. He says it's D. So is Tumed aspirant. So is Shakti Madhav. So is Ashish Sitaram. No. Split verdict, is it? There is no split verdict. I don't see any split verdict. Shlok? No need for Lokpal. Oh, there is a mild split verdict. Yes, my bad. Yes, my bad. There is a small split verdict. Let's call the Lokpal. Let's call the Lokpal. Time for split verdict has finally come in the class. Sumed, Sadhna, Taithong, Sitaram, Roshan, Rajnishwar, AB. What to do? Let's then verify what's the problem. First one, RRTS is designed for higher sustained cruising speed. Speed is very high with very few intermediate stops. Stops are not there. What did we talk about? What is RRTS? Why is it different from the previous Silver Line? I told you. I also said, listen carefully, everyone. I can show you also. I told you what is RRTS. Look here on your screen. RRTS is a speed of 160 to 180, more intermediate stop. If there are too many stops, only then it will provide last mile urban connectivity. How can first be correct? If first is not correct, then A and D are anyway not correct. Now, what about B and C? Second one, the proposed RRTS corridor is planned to operate at lower speed than those proposed under Silver Line semi-high speed rail project. Is it correct? Absolutely correct. Definitely the speed is low. When I say 160 to 180, it is slow only, right? And it stops too much, by the way. 3. Unlike Silver Line, RRTS model relies on elevated viaduct construction. Correct. That is what I said. It is viaduct only. What about 4th? Funding pattern, larger share of international financial. Absolutely. 20% state, 20% center, and most of the fund is coming from international loan. Then what was the confusion here? C should be the right answer, no? 1 is not right, 2, 3, 4 are right, and C is correct. Then what happened to majority? Even the Lokpal went in a state of shock today. Lokpal came, but Lokpal was in a state of utter shock. Complete coma. What happened? Majority is so wrong. It's okay. No problem. It happens. But still well tried. Still well tried. Of course, I'm not going to give a huge round of applause, but very well tried. What is one thing we can learn from here? Let's read the options carefully. Let's take our time. On an average, if you are taking at least 20 seconds in understanding, reading a question, there's nothing wrong in that. If you don't read, we can't answer. Speed is good, but accuracy is much better. You can read. You can take your time and read. And that's well answered, well tried. Now we are done with the big articles for the day. No problem, no problem. Very well tried, Satya, aspirant, my dear Roshan, Shlok. Very well tried. So proud of you. Trying is everything. Mistakes are nothing. Well done. Second, now quickly, very small articles are remaining, may maximum 2, 3, and a small travel to the Gaza Strip. Okay, so let's quickly finish it. Okay, no problem, my dear. Next article is like opposition mulls motion to remove the speaker. Now, this is interesting because this is GS paper 2, polity and governance. Polity and governance? What do you mean by mull over? What do you mean by mull over? I've told you before also, when you mull over something, you think about it. You consider that. Another good word, you ponder over something. Okay, you try to speculate something. You are thinking right now. Very good, Kritik. Kaushik, sorry. So now we are looking at the position of speaker. What has happened? Let's quickly understand. Quickly. Yes, absolutely, Satya. Listen to me now. Opposition parties of the India bloc are seriously mulling over it, contemplating over it. Very good. They are thinking of moving a no confidence motion against Lok Sabha Speaker Mr. Om Birla. They have accused him. They have accused him for acting in a biased manner towards the ruling party while running an important position in the House of People, that's the Lok Sabha. What was the trigger? Why did they fight? They are fighting because leader of opposition Mr. Rahul Gandhi was not being allowed to speak during the motion of thanks debate. 2-3 days back we saw the argument about the motion of thanks after the standard presidential address. It was finally supposed to end with a motion of thanks and ultimately Prime Minister's speech reply. But that couldn't happen because Prime Minister was blocked by the opposition parties. So it happened without Prime Minister's comment. Now, opposition is saying Mr. Gandhi was not allowed to speak when the motion of thanks was being debated, and many, including 8 ministers of parliament of the opposition, were removed. They were suspended. It was said that they are not showing discipline in the house. People are saying this is an action that is targeted towards ministers of parliament of the opposition. And this has led to a major fight between the government and the opposition, causing repeated disruptions in the parliament and delaying discussions like the budget debate. Budget is pending, and now people are fighting over this situation. What to do? What should we do now? Nothing. We are not politicians. We will understand UPSC relevant information from here. We really don't care about the party or any party. Focus on the UPSC relevant thing. Who is a speaker? Who is a speaker? Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Speaker of the Lok Sabha is the presiding officer of the lower house of the parliament. What does he do? He ensures the smooth functioning of Lok Sabha. Yes. Which articles of the constitution deal with the speaker? Articles starting from 93 to 97. I have not written 97 here because 97 typically deals with the salary and remuneration. So I have written 93, 94, 95, 96. All these articles deal with speaker. The most important one being 93, that says Lok Sabha will choose a speaker and a deputy speaker. Article 95 talks about the powers of the deputy speaker, and Article 96 here becomes very interesting because it is Article 94 that talks about removal of the speaker. Vacation, resignation and removal. And this is exactly what opposition is talking about. They are thinking about, contemplating, mulling over, removing the speaker. Article 94. Therefore, Article 96 is also important. It says, while the procedure of removal is going on, speaker will not preside over the removal motion. Yes, understood all these articles? Now, talking about the speaker of Lok Sabha, but please understand that Lok Sabha speaker is elected by the members of Lok Sabha from among themselves. Among themselves. Usually by a simple majority they can be elected, and I want everybody to know about all kinds of majority, simple, special, and the ones that need at least an approval of half of the legislative assemblies from states. I need you to know about all 3 amendment procedures. But for speaker, Lok Sabha will elect among themselves by a simple majority. Typically, he is taken from the ruling party, but then it's a neutral post. You have to be very neutral as the speaker, by the way. Yes? So, which article deals with removal? 94. And the speaker will not preside. He will not preside over his removal motion. Very important. Now, one more question. Few days back, all of us were discussing what? The budget, annual financial statement, Article 112. And in that process, we have also discussed Article 1110. What is Article 1110? It deals with money bill. So talking about the powers of the speaker, remember, it is the speaker who decides whether the bill is a money bill or not, and the decision taken here is final. Article 1110. Second, if there is a tie and there is no conclusion to the votes, it is the speaker who can give a casting vote, only in the case of a tie. Third, under the 10th schedule of the Constitution, 10th schedule 1985, that deals with anti-defection, it is the speaker who decides disqualification of ministers of parliament in cases of defection. Very good. It is the speaker who presides over the joint sitting of both the houses. Absolutely correct. So will we remember all these things? Yes. Now what about Article 94? How is the speaker removed? We are talking about removing Mr. Om Birla, right? Opposition wants that to happen now. How do you remove a speaker? Is it so easy? Under Article 94, we remove the speaker. The process is, speaker can be removed by a resolution of Lok Sabha, but you have to give a 14 days advance notice. Then majority of members will have to vote there. Majority of those who are present and those who are voting. Majority of those who are present and those who are voting. Yes. Then during the removal process, speaker will not preside. Who presides? Deputy speaker presides. These are certain things I want you to remember. Prelims can get questions here. Anti-defection, disqualification. Speaker must have the discretion to accept it or to not accept a judge's removal motion. Very good. Excellent. Excellent. 52nd Amendment. Very good. Very good. Absolutely. There is a big difference, and we have spoken that 2 weeks before. Terukula, you need a round of applause for that. And Ramu also needs a round of applause for that. So does Madhav. Very well said. Very well said. Beautifully, Terukula has spoken about the discretionary powers of the speaker, which is different in the case of impeachment of a judge and impeachment of the president. Although the Constitution says presidents are impeached, but the Constitution doesn't use the word impeachment for judges. So therefore, it is discretionary whether to accept it or not. Very important. In case of president, no discretion. Excellent. I want everybody to remember that. Absolutely. Very well done. Very well done. Let's proceed quickly with the finance page article. A very short article. Very short article it is. Not a lengthy article. The article is only trying to say one thing, that the Reserve Bank of India, India's central bank, the bank that was busy in issuing changes like reducing the cash reserve ratio and monitoring the repo rate, because the bank was trying to create some kind of balance as India was experiencing the tariff impact of 50%. In the form of trade deficit, RBI responded by these two things. Yes, the same RBI is now telling various banks in India to not force owners of micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, to give collateral security. This reminds me of only one thing, and that's why I got this article today. Most people will not do this article, I know, but there's one thing I want you to do. This article reminds me of one thing I have taught you: poor credit absorption capacity. Poor credit absorption capacity. Poor people are not given loans in India because no bank wants to trust them. They have zero collateral security to offer. But now the government, under a plan that is known as Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program, PMEGP, the RBI has told various banks, don't force small scale industries and MSMEs to give collateral security for a loan that is about 20 lakh. about 20 to 20 lakh you can give. You can give loan even without collateral security in order to propagate the business of these small companies. Otherwise, they can never be profitable. Further, the RBI has said that this entire program, Prime Minister Employment Generation Program, is being implemented through the Khadi Village Industries Cooperation KVIC, and let's give them loan about 20 to 25 lakh rupees. Don't force them for any kind of collateral because we really need them to increase their output. After all, they also support India's export potential. They give employment, and they are giving employment to so many unskilled and semi-skilled laborers. So give them lending. Don't force too much loan for a small amount of 20 to 25 lakh. Now, therefore, I want everybody to know for GS paper 2, what is the PMEGP scheme? Of course, you will understand about the Manrega and VBGRAM, but you must also little bit know about PMEGP. Now, Prime Minister Employment Generation Program is a credit subsidy scheme. That means a scheme that provides cheap and soft loan to MSME sector. It is aimed at creating business and self-employment in India by supporting very small industries, by giving them easy loan so that they can promote employment and more export potential for India. Who will implement it? Khadi and Village Industry Commission. When was the scheme launched? 2008. It was launched by merging two existing schemes, Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana and Rural Employment Generation Program REGP. That's it. Yes, very good. So now they are saying give these loans. Some banks still don't give. Despite the protocol, some banks are still not giving. And that is why these poor people will have to go to money lenders and take money from there. That is a very high interest loan. It's a tough loan, hard loan, and they can't repay it back. Yes. So what happens today under RBI? If banks start giving cheaper and softer loan, it is very good for employment generation. Now, quickly the next one. The Supreme Court of India has told the Election Commission that majority of digital tools that are being used in the special intensive revision process are very, very restrictive. Before I say that, very good Sumit and Shlok. There is always a risk of NPA, non-performing asset. The loan may not come back. The loan may be defaulted. But if you know that a certain industry has been able to give its previous loan and their credit history has been solid, it is authentic and it is trustable, then you might trust them. The risk of defaulting is always there. But by restricting it too much, we are trying to create a lack of financial opportunity for MSME sector. What is Reshma saying? Very, very good. Beautiful. Thank you, Reshma, and thank you, Ramu, for this lovely discussion. Now, quickly, let's proceed. Supreme Court of India is warning that various election tools that are being used by Election Commission in the special intensive revision are very restrictive. What do you mean by restrictive? The software is so strong. The software is so narrow that minor differences in names and surnames are also being called as discrepancies. For example, if somebody's surname is Ray and it was written as Roy, or the omission of the word Kumar in between, then the person will once again be called for verification. Sometimes they are forced to fill another form, Form 8, as if they have never been registered before, and that is not good. Treating minor discrepancies, minor faults as discrepancies will mean SIR will keep on becoming too restrictive. And ignoring common variations in Indian naming practices. Name variations are very common, but that's not what they are doing. Instead of ignoring small differences, they are actually creating a big issue about that. Because of that, what's the problem? Many voters are being asked to verify their details even for small errors. One small little word here and there, they are being caught. Why the Supreme Court has interfered? Supreme Court says, let us extend the claims and objections deadline because too many corrections are being done. Let's deploy more people, more professionals for revision work. Let the police report on allegations of violence and document burning by people, and let's do clarification that electoral register officers are not micro observers. They will take final decisions on voter inclusion or exclusion. The core issue is that we must maintain accuracy of electoral roll, but by being too focused on small differences that we could ignore. which happen because of technology misuse, which happen because of any small human error. These mean it is unfair to exclude legitimate voters because of small variations or small spelling errors in their names and things like that. So administrative efficiency is one thing, but it should not become too strong, it should not become too stubborn in order to disenfranchise people. You can't take people's voting right away. That is not valid. So that's what Supreme Court is saying here. That's all. Now, the almost last article is coming from Gaza. So we'll have to travel a little bit to the Gaza Strip. And here you are in West Asia now. So let's quickly focus here. For a minute, let's quickly focus on the map and let's thoroughly focus on the map. The left-hand side column is showing you the macro map of this area. You can see the bigger area of Israel. The small, very tiny strip here, barely the Gaza Strip. Can anybody tell me how long is the Gaza Strip? Can anybody tell me what is the strength of the Gaza Strip? How many kilometers? Can anybody tell me that? So this tiny little white strip is Gaza. Yes? Now look at the right side. This entire rectangle that you see here is Gaza. This is Gaza Strip. Okay? Now naturally it is connected with various other places like Erez crossing, Rafah crossing. But more or less it has become an area that is trapped in between. Very few exit points. The evacuation area is very tiny, the one you see in red color. And the most of the whitish or the brownish area you see here is Israel. What is going on here? Now we all understand that the two-state solution was never implemented. It was never implemented. And despite negotiations like Oslo Accord, Abraham Accords, Camp David Accords, there has been no peace between Israel and Gaza. Recently, President Trump has tried to create the Gaza Peace Board. India was also invited to that board, but India did not go. In order to create a firm line of border, in order to make sure that there is a parallel region created for the Jews of Israel and for the Muslim communities that claim to be Palestinian. But even now, there is no clarity. There is no clarity. War is still going on. So what happened suddenly now? Israeli government has approved, listen, Israeli government has approved new rules to expand Jewish settlement in the West Bank. More Jewish means more Israeli people will now start settling in the West Bank. What is West Bank? An occupied Palestinian territory. What is West Bank? Occupied territory of Palestine occupied by Israel. Now when Israel is asking more people of their country to, very good Rajneshwar, a 41-kilometer strip. 41-kilometer strip. Excellent. Please remember. Please remember. Nobody is asking in prelims, but I want you to remember. How will it help you? You will realize later. 41-kilometer in length. Excellent, Eric. Excellent. Very, very good. Brilliant. Now coming back. Israeli government is saying, go and occupy more areas of West Bank. More Jewish people will now settle in West Bank, but this is challenging. This is a challenge. Why is it a challenge? Because if you allow Jewish people to directly buy land in West Bank and open land records to public, what will happen to the people of Palestine? There will be an increasing Israeli control in Palestine-administered areas. Once again, war. Transferring building permit authority to Israeli people and to the Israeli government will mean more Israeli control in entire West Bank, and then what happens to the people of Palestine? How are people reacting? There is a big international reaction. America is quiet. Not one word from America. America supports Israel. Now listen, who is reacting? Most of the Muslim majority nations are not happy today. Saudi Arabia, which had signed Abraham Accord in 2020 with US. Why? In order to acknowledge and recognize Israel officially. Today retaliates. It says no. It is not a good thing to do. Israel should not expand in West Bank. Egypt, that had very unwillingly, in a semi-happy mindset, signed up the Camp David Accord, the Cold Peace Treaty. I told you, Nobel Prize for Jim Carter, American president, the Cold Peace Treaty. Yes, remember? Egypt, which had signed Camp David Accord, agreed to identify Israel as a separate country, is not happy today. Pakistan, not happy. Turkey, very unhappy. None of them are happy. They are condemning this action, saying that it violates international law. Very good, Terukula. Sinai Peninsula. Absolutely. The Cold Peace Treaty. Camp David Accord 1976. What happened then? It was signed in Egypt. Israel returned Sinai Peninsula. In return, Egypt recognized the existence of Israel. Mutual agreement. But was Egypt happy? No. No, Egypt was very unhappy. In a very neutral state, it did that. That's why we celebrate it as the Cold Peace Treaty. Peace came, but proper peace never came. It was only on paper. Cold Peace Treaty. And Jim Carter got Nobel Prize for that. All these countries, Saudi, Abraham Accord, Egypt, Camp David Accord. Then there is another one, Oslo Accord. But today, I'll talk about Oslo Accord a little later. But today, all these countries are criticizing. They are saying this violates international law, allowing Israel to capture more area of West Bank will lead to the annexation and capture of West Bank by Israel. It will weaken the two-state solution, which had in 1960s acknowledged Israel and Palestine as two separate nations. Now, the West Bank. Now I am saying something which is very important. I want all focus. After this, there will be no confusion. 1, 2, 3. Focus, bache. What do you mean by Oslo Peace Accord? Listen. West Bank has been an area that has been under Israeli occupation since 1967. I'm writing it here. West Bank is an area that has been under Israeli occupation since when? 1967. 1967. Listen carefully now. It was under the Oslo Accord. It was under the Oslo Accord that the West Bank got divided into 3 areas. Very carefully. West Bank got divided into 3 areas. All of this is being done under Oslo Accord. You know Abraham, you know Camp David. I'm teaching Oslo Accord right now. Oslo Accord. What happened in Oslo Accord? West Bank has been under Israeli occupation since 1967. Now comes Oslo Accord that divides West Bank into 3 areas. 1, Area A. What is Area A? Area A will be controlled by Palestinian Authority control. Area B to be controlled by shared basis. It is a shared area between the two. Area C, Israel control. Area C, Israel control. 3 areas had been created out of the West Bank. Settlement expansion is one of the core issues, therefore, in Israel-Palestine conflict. Therefore, Oslo Accords are a set of peace agreement between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization. What is the aim? To solve the Israel-Palestine conflict through the two-state solution. When were they signed? Oslo Accords as such was signed in the 1990s. Formally, it was done in the 1990s with international mediation. Israel recognized Palestine Liberation Organization with representative of Palestine, and Palestine recognized the right to Israel to exist as a separate country. That's the conflict between the two. The 3 division shlok, absolutely I will repeat, Ramu. Now, we are saying that West Bank as an area has been occupied by Israel not from now, from 1967. And under an agreement between the two, West Bank was divided into broadly 3 areas. Area A, B, C. Area A is controlled by Palestine. Area B is a shared area. Area C is controlled by Israel. But today what is Israel saying? Israel is saying expand the Jewish population from Area C into Area B and Area A. That is not acceptable to most of the countries with Islamic majority like Turkey, Saudi, Egypt. Most of these under American pressure had recognized Israel. But today they are saying it is not good. If Israel keeps expanding, we are cancelling all the logic behind two-state solution and behind Oslo Accord. Is that clear? So the controversy is still going on. So will everybody remember now? Oslo versus Abraham versus Camp David? No confusion? You want a separate class on that? Then you will have to wait for the Zoom session. Is it clear, bacha? Is it clear, Ramu? Is it clear? Yes or no? Is it clear? Yes, Satya. Yesterday we spoke of the small community from Jewish area in India, that was later transferred to Israel. Very good, Terukula. Area A, Area B, Area C. Everybody is clear. Thanks, Terukula, for explaining. And before that, Ramu also explained all the three accords beautifully. Reshma has been so supportive in giving dates. Thank you, Shlok. Thank you, uh, Hika. Thank you, Roshan. Thank you, Shakti, Rajneshwar, my dear Ashish, as well as Sumit, my dear Eric, Madhav, Akhtar, Bulbul, Iba, and everybody, Adi, Santosh, Sumed, Shakti, for lovely answers, Satya, lovely participation, Anup, Kritik, Kaushik, Sumed, Aspirant, Terukula, Sitaram, Urupam, Mithun, Aman, Urupam, Hika, Rajkumar, Sadhana, Taithong, Kaizen, Shinobi, Apex, Madhav, Anup, who else was there? Shakti, Ashish, Reshma, of course. Okay, and many others. Many others in case I'm skipping some name. God bless you, each one of you. There was a film made on that in 21. We must see such films. No, no, not immigration. It is, I would say, it's a very deliberate sort of immigration. It's not happening because population is growing as such. It's happening because Israel deliberately wants to spread its settlements into these areas. Why? Because ultimate aim of Israel is what? Expanding and conquering as much area as it can legally claim for itself. Remember, Israel started as a dot. Today, it's a major country. The expansionist policy has been the predominant mode for Israel. Is that clear? It's not a natural immigration, not a distress immigration. It's a deliberate aim at resettlement. Yes? Yes, I will make it. I will make it. It's like a colonization. Primarily, it's like that. Is it clear now, Ramu? Okay? Yes, I'll announce the Zoom sessions very soon. Just bear with me for 1 or 2 days. I'll do that. So God bless you, bache. I'll see you tomorrow then, 9:30 a.m. Okay, keep following the Telegram updates. Study hard. Be happy.